Hey, welcome back to Toronto Blue Jays Weekly with your hosts John and John. No, obviously we have our Jays gear on, but this is a Toronto Maple Leaf show. We will, however, talk about the Jays because that's what's going on in the big smoke right now, and everybody's on the bandwagon, and it's fantastic. I watched a report today on the news about Dunedin. How obviously the Jays had been doing their spring training down there for 40 plus years, and that community is just going bananas right now, cheering on the Jays. So yeah, I mean, hey, they're right there. You got a best out of 3, and 2 of the games are at home, right?
Didn't see this coming.
Well, I mean, this is the little engine that could, right? This is we don't care. Go ahead. You have probably, now that I've watched them, because I live in the East Coast, like the true East Coast, and I don't see very many Dodger games, based on the time that they're on and things like that. Even these ones, they're killing my system. But Shohei Ohtani will be the greatest baseball player in history when his career is over, if he's not already, right? Somebody was at the rink the other day. It was at one of Jack's practices. And somebody said, how do you equivalent that in another sport, what he does? And I said, well, I thought about this, right? So you take a goalie tandem in the NHL. Okay, so you got a goalie tandem, you got a one and 1A. They're both, so Woll and Stolarz, for example. Okay, so Stolarz starts tonight. Woll, instead of backing him up, Hildeby's backing him up, and Woll's the first line right winger, and he scores 2 goals a game. That's how you equivalent to what Shohei Ohtani. There's no other sport that, like, there's nobody, you can talk about the Bo Jacksons and the Deion Sanders and the multi-sport, fantastic athletes for sure, but to be able to do what this, and you know what, doing it with a smile on his face. Nobody says a bad word about the guy, right? He seems to be having fun. He's very gracious when he loses. He always has time for the meeting. I'm a huge fan of that guy, and we can pick apart Schneider and some of the moves he made in the long game the other night, but hey, you know what, he got to the 18th inning, right, and he had the balls to put this guy on base with 5 times in a row, and it didn't come back to hurt him. I think Schneider's been.
Now, if he had to put him on in the 7th inning instead of pitching to him,
but you know what?
Everyone in the world was like, do not throw the ball to him.
Yeah, but guess what? Okay, you can say that, but he could have put him on in the 7th inning, and the next guy could have hit a jack, and that it's over in 9. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hear you. Sure, that's the easy way to say this could have. But I think Schneider's been tremendous. I think this team is just like next guy up mentality. It doesn't matter. We don't care if we're at the bottom of the order or the top of the order. If we need a hit or we need a base runner, we're going to do it. Vladdy, outstanding. Can't say enough about that guy. I mean, you got Springer, who, in some people's mind was an MVP candidate in the regular season this year. Some people's mind, right? But
some people.
Good numbers, solid.
Mr. and Mrs. Springer thought he was wonderful.
He was their MVP in the regular season at the end of the day. But, Bichette there as well. He goes down last night. They played till middle of the night before. It would have been easy for that team to fold up yesterday and get smashed 10-0 and this and that. Nope, they just find a way, right? I believe the Jays are going to win the World Series, and if they and I will guarantee they'll win it if they can somehow find a way to win today. If they can come back to Toronto and have 2 chances with everybody available, right? When we get into 6 and 7 here, you're not saving anybody for anything.
No.
But I truly believe they can do it. Hopefully Springer's healthy, but it just seems like they have that mentality. What are your thoughts on the World Series so far?
Man, like, listen, I'll give full credit to the Blue Jays players, man. This is a much better baseball team than I've given them credit for all season. everybody knows I'm a Yankees guy. I'm not a Jays fan by trait. But at the same point in time, because they're in the division and stuff, and they're always on TV, I do follow the team and know what's going on. You know what? It's what I've learned about this team is they are the epitome of never say die. And you're watching it as a fan, and you're looking at it and going, "No, I think we're okay." The bottom line is, in that clubhouse, everybody believes in that clubhouse. You're down 3-1 in the seventh. It's not a big deal. They believe they're going to win the game. And that kind of feeling, the mojo, Johnny, once you start feeling that and you start to get the vibes and, you've seen it happen before with teams. There's no, listen, on paper, this is not a series on paper.
No.
LA should smash the Jays.
There's like 8 guys in the Jays lineup that played in Buffalo this year.
No, but so it's a hot take. Surprise! I've got a hot take. Is I give the general manager and this management team no credit for this at all, because this was not the intention at the beginning of the season. And anybody that's going to pretend to tell you that this was the thought pattern, that you were going to have a guy with 7 starts start game 1 of the World Series, you were going to have a 40-year-old who can't give you more than 5 innings. You were going to have a guy coming off Tommy John who hadn't pitched in 2 years, who can't give you more than 5 innings, but you were going to make the World Series. Nathan Lucas, who's been DFA'd twice by 2 different franchises and played in the minor leagues for a decade, is going to hit 400. You all planned this out after 10 years not winning.
You're making the point against what you're saying.
No.
They have organizational depth. They have guys that can come up and obviously contribute at the highest level. So that's credit to was this their plan? No.
Okay, that's all. That's my whole point.
Does the whole general manager make a plan and then have to pivot in the middle of it because of whatever reason? At the end of the day, if they win the World Series, they got to get credit.
Listen,
right? They're the ones that put all these players.
I'm giving the players that are here. I'm giving the players that are here full marks for performing in the moment. I'm giving the players full marks. This management team has been useless for a decade, and because they got lucky now with guys in the spotlight who are overperforming what their historical performance is, I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon and give the management team credit. I'm going to give the team full credit. The players are doing the job. Players are showing up.
Credit. I think they just care if they win.
That's which at the end of the day, it's all about winning. I'm just so anti Blue Jay management
right?
that whatever.
So perfect segue when you talk about next guy up and never quit, and we're gonna band together and I think the Toronto Maple Leafs and their fan base can learn from what the Blue Jays are doing right now, right? We're going to talk about the first 10 games and kind of a holistic view of what you think, and I truly believe this team is fine. Obviously, they're dealing with a bunch of injuries, and you had the leave of absence for Joe Wall. That kind of disrupts your flow on the back end, takes that competition away. But what they need to learn from the Blue Jays is that mindset that you just described. We're going to win. And the last couple games could have got away from them.
Quickly. Very quickly.
Right? A quick goal after a goal, that kind of thing. Those are the things that can make a group kind of stop believing in themselves, but they've done the opposite. Right? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you win 4-3, 9-8, 1-0. Right? The idea right now is to bank enough points so you get into the dance at the end of the year. It doesn't matter where you are. Florida showed that. St. Louis showed that in 2019, right? You have an opportunity here because you got a whole season, you got some cap space, you got some flexibility. What does this group need? I don't think they know yet. It hasn't been a big enough sample size, and you haven't had your full group. But I think they're playing hard. I've been really, obviously his little fisticuffs the other night.
Jake McCabe,
but he's been a stud.
Where have you been all my life, Jake McCabe? Yeah. That was, you know what?
He's stepping up. Max Domi last night needed him.
Okay, let's hold up a red card though before we get into Max Domi. Okay, Jake McCabe. Part of what I loved about Jake McCabe was not the fight and not the one punch knockout, which was brilliant, but my God, have we been waiting for something like that to happen?
I thought
Like,
that's what we were getting when they
like,
traded.
100%. But like in the first 10 games, it's been kind of vanilla,
Yeah.
right? Like, you know what? Has there been some high points? Absolutely. Has there been some really low points? Definitely. But has there been a lot of just, we're waiting to see like what is the identity of this team? Who's gonna step up? Who's gonna be the guy that, unexpectedly you kind of go, oh, okay, he showed up. Okay,
Sam
now
Bennett.
he showed up.
Sam Bennett.
Who's that guy for
Yeah.
us, right? And so I think what really struck me most about the McCabe incident was just that how refreshing was it? To see him come in, boom, lay the hit, right? And then when it was time to answer the bell, not only did he answer the bell, he finished it.
Yep.
And I just went like, for the love of God, guys, if you can't get behind that and then get
similar
motivated,
to Nyes in Vegas last year.
100%, John, 100%. 100%.
The other guys go, whoa, where'd that come from?
Yeah,
and now your Jason or Nicholas Robertsons and some of the smaller guys get a little bigger, right?
And you want
that guy, and he can do that.
And John, don't kid yourself. Craig Berube, that is his player. That is what he wants to see.
Yeah,
that is exactly.
100%.
And you know what? If Jake McCabe gets burned on a goal, but takes the guy out in the corner and is involved in something, but a goal goes in, you'll take it every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're doing the right things to set the right tone. So yeah. I agree with you on McCabe. I really hope it continues with them. I'd love to see it.
And I mean, you just Max stepping up last night, right? They needed.
But listen, that is if Max Domi is not going to be that player, Max Domi doesn't have a place on this team.
Right. Yeah, he's got to step up when the other guys.
Listen, one goal in 9 games for Max Domi, playing 12 minutes a night. That does not help this team.
Yeah,
the Leafs are not a competitive team night in and night out. If Max Domi's giving you 12 minutes, 13 minutes of ice time, and 1 goal, no assist, and it's a -6 through 10 games, it's just that is not conducive to a successful team.
Hopefully last night was a turning point for him and his confidence.
I hope so too. I hope so too. Yeah. And listen, like if you've watched us for any length of time, we're big Grapes guys. Grapes has said, listen, I'm 45 years old. I've been listening to Don Cherry my whole life. All he says, put the puck on net and good things will happen. Max Domi, you've got a shot in the NHL. Shoot the puck more often. When you shoot, good things happen. Berube kept saying
he had no choice but to shoot last night. He didn't have any options.
But John, Berube's been saying that all season long. Max, you got to shoot the puck. Max, you got to shoot the puck. Max, you got to shoot the puck. All of a sudden, he starts shooting the puck. And go figure, yet again, Grapes is right. Good things happen.
And then, we'll go to the core 3 now. We don't say core 4 anymore. We're not allowed, I guess. And, I think Matthews has been fine. I'm not concerned. He's scored some when they needed it. He's playing great away from the puck. Tavares, I think, has lost a step. We kind of predicted that coming into this season, and it's still an absolute bargain for the dough that he's getting. So I'm fine with that. Nylander, I want to see the after effects. I don't know what was it. I've been real busy this week. Like what did he hurt?
We're not sure. Like it hasn't.
Lower or up?
It hasn't. They haven't really gotten into it from everything that I've seen. Listen, Matthews is. I think you hit the nail on the head. Matthews has been fine.
Yeah.
Matthews has not been terrible. Matthews has not been outstanding. Matthews has been fine. And is it reasonable? Here's what I will say. Is it reasonable for fans to be frustrated because you expect excellence 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with the ticket he has? Is that reasonable to expect it? I can understand the argument, right? I can get there with you.
But it's 10 games.
But in the end, is Matthews going to be fine? I think he's going to be fine, right? Johnny Toronto. Truth, I'm going to be honest, and John, I've made no bones in the past of when I've been hard on Tavares. I've been hard on Tavares when I think it's been warranted. I think Tavares has been very good to be honest, to start the season. He started slow. He had those couple of goals in that one game, like last Saturday night, I think it was.
Yeah.
But he needed them. Do you know what I mean? He needed a little jump start. But since then, in the last week or so, I thought he's kind of found his own.
Yeah.
And again, let's realize what John Tavares is now, right? John Tavares is probably on most NHL teams, the third line center on most teams that are elite. We're not at that point yet. We might be eventually. But it is what it is. And right now, if you're worried about Tavares, you got other problems to worry about before.
I'm not worried about him. I just see the foot speed, right?
Even
the breakaway in overtime the other night, the guy almost caught him.
I understand, but listen, Tavares. When Tavares came out of Oshawa and he was an 18-year-old, what was the one knock on John Tavares as an 18-year-old coming into the NHL? It was skating, right? And so, listen, that's going to be the first thing that's going to go on a guy who never had it to begin with. So, like again, that is what it is. And listen, it's not going to get any better. It's just a matter of like what kind of decline are we talking about?
I got one more thought on Matthews.
Okay, hit me.
People aren't thinking about. You got Marner leaving, right? And then the question is, can Matthews score without Marner? And now you got Dora Fayev or whatever the guy's name is in Vegas. That's jamming goals in, right? That's going to make Matthews kind of go, whoa.
Hold on.
Right?
Okay, so I'm so glad that you brought this up. Everybody was I saw this at the beginning of the season, and everybody was like, this guy is scoring so much now that Marner's on his line, blah, blah, blah. He's got like 6 goals. Okay, of the 6 goals that he had, do you know how many exactly Marner assisted on?
2.
None.
He got a couple on.
Not on the first 6. Not on the first 6.
Oh, okay. Maybe on the last couple.
Not on the first 6. And so I remember seeing all this when it was going around, and they were like, look at the difference that Marner's making with this guy. If he
that's bulletin board material for a guy like Matthews that wants to succeed, that wants to win, right?
100%. My only point here is like everybody's got to relax, right? And listen, if you're surprised that Mitch Marner is having success in Vegas with the lineup that Vegas has, I don't know why. If Mitch Marner was in Toronto, he would be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised that Mitch Marner
is a player.
Listen, Mitch Marner's not a good hockey player. Mitch Marner is an elite hockey player when there's no pressure and it does not matter. Mitch Marner will get you 100 points every year, bar none. But Vegas will soon realize what we already know. You just paid $12 million for the next decade for a guy that's going to get you 100 points in the regular season and then decide he doesn't want to play anymore. So, and you know what, Vegas? Good luck to you. I wish you nothing but the best.
Did you see the reports the other day? And we talked about it on this show. We've talked about, the failed trade for Marner at the deadline to Carolina. Well, an insider came out, and there was another offer made for Mikko Rantanen, and that was after Mitch declined to waive his no movement clause. And they offered Carolina at that point. This is a pretty reliable source as well. They offered Fraser Minton, who ended up going in the Carlo trade.
Yep.
Easton Cowan.
Okay.
And either 1 or 2 firsts.
Done. I would have done it in a heartbeat. Twice on Sunday. Don't even think
I would have given that up too. But here's the point. Can you imagine how different last year's playoff run could have been if you had Marner and Rantanen in your lineup?
Well, yeah, I can totally imagine it. It would have looked exactly the same as it looked for the last decade with me.
You don't know that. He's an elite talent too. Bring him in. It could go either way, right? Is there enough puck to for all those guys to share? Who knows? Right?
Yeah, but I mean, either way, it would make an interesting second line and a second power play for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So, worst case scenario, you're spreading it out.
Before we get into talking about Columbus and tonight's game, I have to talk about Montreal Canadiens.
Okay, hold on. Before we get to Montreal, there is something that listen. I think we got to talk about it. Are you starting to get concerned with the defensive play. Because listen, I'll say this: Brendan Carlo to me is not. Listen, he's. I'm not saying he's not a great hockey player. He's not really been what I've expected to see to start this season. I've been really disappointed in Brendan Carlo to start with. More troubling is the decline of Morgan Riley.
Yeah.
And I think this is something, if you're not paying
We
attention,
knew this was coming. I talked about this.
I understand. No, listen, John, I understand, but like at a certain point, the decline of Morgan Riley is something that is like the drop off in the last year is staggering, and it's not getting better. And at a certain point,
you got to buy him out next spring.
Either that, or you've got to go to him at some point. And listen, I honestly think I think Tree's a pretty active general manager. Yeah. And if guys like us are noticing this, it's impossible that they're not noticing it. So the Morgan Riley, something just to keep an eye on. Keep an eye on Morgan Riley. If you're watching,
keep an eye on Calgary too.
Well, now the only interesting thing there is with that ownership, Murray. What's his name? Murray. Who's the new owner in Calgary? I can't remember what his name is.
I know.
The likelihood, though, I don't know that owner is going to allow any movement with Toronto.
Toronto's going to have to overpay.
But that's what I mean, though.
Yes, Anderson and Nazem Kadri. It's going to cost you Riley. It's going to cost you Robertson. It might cost you Cowan. Probably a couple of first-round picks. But if that's what you need to do, you got to win now, right? You got. Right. This isn't. You're not waiting.
Yeah, no. We're in go time.
All in. Yeah.
So just something to keep an eye on. If you are a Leaf fan, I'd encourage you, pay attention to Morgan Riley on the ice. And the only other thing that I would say is, and like I just said, I was very critical on Brendan Carlo. I've got to think he's better than what he's shown.
Yeah, you can talk about what we just talked about McCabe, right? McCabe took a little while to blend in. 2 years, really. I mean, he's playing better now. He's been here for 2 years and a bit since he came over from Chicago, and now we're finally seeing the guy that we thought we were getting in day one.
And listen, do you remember because we were on that night on the trade deadline? I don't know if you recall it. We were sitting there, and I remember saying to you specifically, the only guy I want right now is Jake McCabe. Jake McCabe on this team.
Well, no, you wanted that guy that's been here twice and ended up back in St. Louis.
Oh, Lyubushkin. Hey, listen, I have a secret love affair with Ilya Lyubushkin. I think he's great, and I think he'd still be great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ilya Lyubushkin on this team would be a great number.
He's a heavy minute chewing defenseman that
I still like Lyubushkin, and I still maintain that Ilya Lyubushkin would be great for us right now.
Yeah, I don't disagree. All right, so I want to talk about the Montreal Canadiens, and I know for a fact that there's Montreal Canadiens fans that watch this show.
Oh, we know.
I've got my best buddy who retired living on the beach in Mexico. Is a big Hab fan. Got a text from him. What's going on with the Leafs? What that kind of thing. Tongue in cheek and
crawling out of the woodwork.
I got a work colleague, Jacques Fournel, who I had a call with today, and the same thing. So I'm coming in. I'm going to be in Toronto for business the first week of December. So I'm going to go to the Leaf Hab game on the Saturday night. I think it's the 6th of December. Anyway, so he's yapping what's going on. Guys, settle down. It's 10 games in, right? You've got a good young team, right? I don't think you have any goalies. I think Dobas is better than Monteblanc, but the French kid's going to get the start or every opportunity to succeed. As we know, he was the token Quebecois on the Four Nations Cup.
Wait a minute. You don't think he earned the spot?
There were 6 other Canadian goalies that were better than him, right? But having said that, think about what I just said. There was no other Quebecois on Team Canada for the first time ever. So recent, you would have had, Patrice Bergeron was a staple.
Like Cavalier.
A real good one. Denis Lecavalier. and then go backwards and then go back to the 72 series and all the French guys that were on that, Serge Savard and
Loaded.
Guy Lafleur and Mario Lemieux, just guy after guy. There was 3 guys that played in the queue that were on the Four Nations Cup team, but they all just happened to be from here in Nova Scotia. They played in the queue.
Yeah. You know they're counting Crosby as one of their own now, right?
Right.
That's kind of how it works. Right?
So anyway, Montreal Canadiens fans, settle down. Talk to me here. I'm going to give you 2 dates, and then we'll remember and we'll bring it up. U.S. Thanksgiving.
We will.
U.S. Thanksgiving is a benchmark to me. It's about the quarter pole, right? You're about 20 games in. U.S. Thanksgiving, then Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day, you're a couple weeks from the trade deadline. You know where you are. You kind of have an idea of who's fighting. The East is going to – the whole NHL is going to be very, very tight. Some of the also-rans that, were perennial miss playoff teams, they're moving up.
They're
right?
coming up.
The Ottawas, the Montreals, the Detroits. Sometimes Buffalo even looks like they could be good. And then out west, you got Utah and Seattle that are, kicking ass and taking names right now. But be patient. Wait and see, right? Toronto Maple Leafs 2016, 2017, when Matthews came in and Marner and Willie Nylander and some of these young guys, not dissimilar to what Montreal has right now. But I don't think this team is built necessarily for a prolonged playoff series against the Tampa Bay Lightning or Carolina, the physical, real battle that happens in the Eastern Conference playoffs because they'll say, oh well, we got Arbor Jackeye. Okay, good. If Arbor Jackie's in one of your top 6,
if he's playing,
you got a bigger problem. If he's dressed in a playoff game, your team's going to be in trouble.
You're already done. If your answer to any issue is we have
8 or 9 on a winning team, maybe a 10.
Yeah,
right?
You're not winning anything.
Yeah, so settle down, Montreal fans. Okay, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll admit it.
But Johnny,
it's great for the game when Montreal and Toronto were both good. I'll tell you that.
But listen, just to keep, I just want to put it in perspective. We are a Leaf show, and I just want to put it in perspective. Okay, literally no one in Toronto right now is happy with the start that the Leafs have had. Some of us are like, okay, to be expected, whatever. But nobody's jumping up and down. We're kind of going like, it's still, we should be better than what it is. If the Leafs win tonight, we'll have played the same amount of games. And Montreal is exactly 3 points ahead of us, and you guys are planning a parade. Simmer down, Montreal. It's a long season. It's a long, long season.
Absolutely. So I want to thank our sponsors. Then we're going to do a quick prediction for tonight's game against Columbus, as well as the Blue Jays in LA tonight. So Bjorn Hockey, Don Cherry Sports Grills, thanks for your prolonged and continued support. I say tonight, Toronto, I think they're going to score some goals tonight, the Leafs. I'm going to say 6-2 Toronto. And I'm going to use the same score in the Blue Jays game.
I like it.
So 6-2, 6-2. Both Toronto teams on top. What do you
think? I'm going to take the Leafs on the back-to-back tonight, but only because Columbus has been brutal at home to start. They're 1-4 at home and 4-1 on the road. So a weird start for Columbus. I like the run that we're on. We got a couple in a row. I like the way we've been playing. I think the coach is preaching the right stuff, and I'm going to take it 4-2 tonight for the Buds. And God, I think it's going to be tight tonight. I'm going to say it's going to be 3-1 Jays. Man, I don't know that I'm 100% confident about getting to Blake Snell 2 nights in a row, but God love him. Hey, listen, if you're in Toronto, never mind if you're just in Toronto, like being in the city, I'm just going to tell you, the city is a buzz. There is a vibe in this city that has not been around in a very, very long time, and it's great. It is great for the city. I love the fact that people who don't watch baseball people who are not even sports fans are in, and I mean in, to what's going on. My neighbors who are like 80 years old are sitting there going, so this Addison Barger guy, like, what's the deal? And like, I think it's fantastic. I think it's great. I love the fact that it is across the country, literally, that wherever you are, everybody's buying into it. I think it's great. You know, but I got to say it. And if you follow us on Facebook, I had to put the tweet out the other night that you know, the World Series was on, but the Leafs were playing Calgary. So if there was any question as to what I was watching, there shouldn't have been. I was watching the Leaf game till the Leaf game was over, and then we were switching to the World Series because number one, priorities. Okay, priorities.
I put the Leaf game on my computer and I watched the Jays on the big
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I can't get there. I can't get there. I'm all the Leafs matter, and everything else is secondary. I don't care if it's a regular season game, 10 games in. Go Leafs, go.
Yeah, well, we'll talk next week. Nolan's going to be kind of sporadic this year. He's busy with some other stuff. He did a move, so hopefully we'll get him back here one of these days soon. And
is Monte Carlo again? Was he going? Monte Carlo again? The guy, world traveler, a globetrotter.
What he does. All right. Good night, and enjoy the games. And hopefully it doesn't go till 4:00 in the morning again.
Go Leafs, go.
Go Jays.
Oh, jeez.